Hello there, I'm doing my second deck profile. Last time we did the Archer deck profile, we're now doing Regalia. So starting off with Regalia, we've got Regalia of Dawn, Daylight, Angel. A great starter. Obviously helps out early game with allowing you to draw a card and build up that soul early. So that's fantastic. Now in this deck I do run two Dreaming Dragons. Obviously in every deck that involves Genesis you want to be running Dreaming Dragon, as it's such a key card for putting cards back in your deck. This deck decks out quite quickly, so it definitely helps out a lot. In fact, I'd use it in just about every Genesis deck. I run 4 copies of Kakurihime, the Regalia version. It's again great for drawing cards as well as getting cards, power to cards as well. I run 6 crits in this deck. That includes 2 Regalia of Farsight Clear Angel as well, which that way it's a good balance. I also run 4 copies of Regalia of Offering Offer Angel for my draw triggers, which is always helpful when you need those extra cards. Also helps out with Minerva's Quad Drive. I run also Regalia of Service E at 4. Obviously it is an amazing heal trigger, as it allows you to counter charge or soul charge when you use it for the G-Guard costs, as long as you're buying 2 copies of it. So that's fantastic. I'll now move on to my grade 1 lineup. We've got Regalia of Benevolent Wind Flap Angel at 4. It's great stride fodder, as well as that it allows me to search out my key grade 3. We've also got Regalia of Amulets, Expel Angel. Another fantastic unit, as it allows you to put cards to the bottom of your deck and gives itself 3k. So it's a 10k booster, which is always useful. And after that we have Regalia of Frost Jasmine. This unit for a PG is fantastic. I mean, it's a world's worst nightmare on steroids. It can come back to life, so to speak. In the drop zone, put it in soul blast it out, you got another copy in the drop zone, you bind it, you essentially bring it back. And again, with Dreaming Dragon, putting the cards back into your deck so you don't deck out, you can put PGs back into the deck as well. So if you choose not to bind, or you decide that you'd rather get it back into the deck that way. Next up is my grade 2 lineup. And for this we have Regalia of Ideas Ganel at 4. Now, beautiful thing about this card, I love using it early game. What you can do with this is you can put it in the soul early game and then soul blast it out later in the game when you actually need, obviously, the 3k power that it gives the units. So that comes in handy. I run Regalia of Abundance Freya at 3. It's a great card. Early game when you've got a grade 3 Vanguard, you can draw and build up your soul at the same time. Really helps set up for that first stride if you get it out early enough, and if not, then the Minerva stride does the job. Now, last of my grade 2s is Braggy. Braggy is a great way of utilising the drop zone along with the G-Guards to place units, obviously from your drop zone to your deck, soul, and you also get 3k power each time you do it to your Vanguard and that unit, which that stacks up over a period of time as well. So we're moving on to my grade 3 lineup now. Now, as you would have known, this deck is pretty much straight out of the box with the way it goes. We have Regalia of Activity Giant at 4. Now, there is another one of these you can run. There is another Stride version. It was released with Mythical Beast Fenrir, the Stride, but I prefer running this as I can soul charge. On a Minerva turn, it's 46k power. It's phenomenal. I mean, you either PG, pray they don't get a crit, and then you've got to deal with a restand, which still has 1 draft check, so it can be quite scary to go up against. And my main vanguard is Regalia of Wisdom Angelica. You definitely want to ride this unit. With the help of Flap Angel, you should get it 90% of the time. And again, on ride, put a card in the soul from the drop zone, draw a card. On stride, draw another card, put a card in the soul, 2 cards in the drop zone. It combines well with really all the grade 2s and grade 1s, and even up to the stride point, it's just phenomenal. So we'll get into my stride zone now. For the strides, we have Beast Slayer Military Deity tier. This stride is amazing. It's used in every Genesis deck at either 1 or 2, as you can set up your soul for the entire game with it. It can soul charge potentially up to 9 cards. So you look at that plus your Vanguard, you're looking at about 10 soul. And that's at the max, but even at a minimum, you're looking at 4 cards in soul, which is a huge help moving forward. That's not without obviously the calling rearguard skills. I also run 3 Misspell. Misspell is amazing. You can use it once or twice a game, and it can give your field such power. And obviously with the combination of Braggy and other great and cards like Flap Angel, it just makes heavy columns, and it gives you the chance to get a counter charge or a drawback as well. Next up, you've got Ultimate Regalia of Almighty Minerva, the key unit to this deck that can withstand all the Regalia rearguards, as well as having quad drive on first attack and a single drive on a second attack. This thing is phenomenal at 36,000 power. This is without boost. It can do major damage, and it definitely comes in handy. It's a great unit to have, and it's definitely great. This Regalia deck really does sync well together because most of it is Regalia, and most of it is out of the GBT 14 box, other than obviously 2 copies of next era Regalia Schooled, which I forgot to mention earlier, and obviously Clear Angel. Everything else is from the GBT 14 set, which is what makes this deck really great. When I was obviously unpacking that set, I noticed I had enough to build a Regalia deck and gave it a go. So back into the strides, we've got 2 Mythical Destroyer Beast, Bangadir. I run this in every single one of my Genesis decks because it's a great card to stack, and while obviously G-Guards are quite strong and PGs are strong these days, it's a great way to keep your opponent guessing, and it's a great way to stall if you're looking to come up with a plan if Minerva's not going to go off the way you want it to, or you just want that Vanguard strike. Next up is Goddess of Settlement, Pallas Athena, your GB8. Again, this is great in all the decks, particularly this one, and obviously Fenrir as well. Like, the soul charge in this deck is phenomenal. With the columns you can make with Flap Angel, Braggy, and then you add this on top of it, it's just a huge amount of power. If this doesn't finish him off, it'll at least push him right into the edge. And again, you've got Dreaming Dragon to reset your resources. So there's always a high chance you'll get a chance to play this. Now, speaking of cards, the Zereth Dragon of Zenith Peak Ultima. Again, I always use ZRs in all my decks. I find this one to be absolutely amazing. The 2 Dreaming Dragons, while they're in there to recover units I've lost, they're also in there so I can pull off amazing combos with Ultima. If I'm unable to do that, then I wait until the right time. Even after GB8, I go into Ultima, make sure I've got 2 crits in deck, and I just absolute whitewash them. If they survive the GB8, they won't survive Ultima. Right, moving on to G-Guardians. We have Ultimate Regalia of Affection Era 2. Key thing with this unit, very key thing, is to make sure that you've always got a grade 1, 2, 3 and 0 in your drop zone, as it really helps. Obviously you can soul charge 4 cards and add 15k to the shield, which definitely makes a big difference over the long run. I also like Goddess of 7 Colors Iris. Iris is amazing. It's obviously a plain G-Guardian where you can just soul charge 3 of any unit really, so it's not grade restricted in that way. And Laria here is really used for the GB8. I mean, I like to go for that GB8 if possible with this deck, because it's such a consistent win condition, and even if you don't win, and you can go in a tier next turn, build up your soul again, or Ultimate Regalia of Almighty, go for the quad drive, or even straight into Bangadir. It just, obviously that G-Guard helps you add to your G plus, which is always good. Anyways guys, that's the end of this blog. Thank you very much for listening. The next one I'm looking to do is Chaos Breaker. Have a good one.